greater thoughts echo through my mind. Uplifted I soar, leaving shadows behind.
Robert Collins, author of Greater Thoughts, is also a motivational speaker and a mind coach, helping you to untrap your mind. In order to elevate your team, your organization, or your business, visit Robert Collins on theuntrappedmind.com or follow him on Instagram at Greater7Thoughts. That's greater, the number 7, thoughts. Robert Collins says, all success starts with a thought. Now turn that thought into action and go be great.
Good morning. Good morning. It is your host, Mr. RC. Happy December. We are already in the month of December. I know some of you guys got kids like my kids. They already running around talking about, I want this and I want that. I want this and I want that. I know when I was a kid, let me see if some of y'all can relate to my childhood. Man, we was excited when that Toys R Us catalog came out. The Toys R Us catalog came out, and all you want to do is sit there for an hour, just going through, putting your stars or your initials. If you got siblings, you just couldn't put your own only mark. You had to have a mark that was separate of your sibling. But put your initials on that Toys R Us catalog of what it was that you wanted for Christmas. And then there's some of us that, we knew we weren't getting a whole lot. So we put a little list together and we just put a couple of items down. You always put that one item on there that your parents probably not gonna get because it's way out of reach, but you hope for it. You hope for it. So it's a lot of things that people are hopeful for Christmas, and I hope that all of you get the things that you're hopeful for in life, not just for Christmas, but in life. But we at that time of the year that, like I said a couple of weeks ago, the most beautiful time of the year. We're at the time now where some of us have snow on the ground. Some of us are still sitting in areas that's cold, but no snow on the ground. And then some of us are, still enjoying the beautiful weather because you got 60 and 70 degrees, Be nice to live in one of those environments. Here in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's like 40. I woke up the other morning to go to the gym and it was in the 20s. Had snow on my car. Hey, the weather is just everywhere, up and down. They talk about this global warming and all this other stuff. Man, I don't know what it about no global warming. I know it was cold the other morning. Not that global warming is not true, but it was cold the other morning. So I hope everybody out there in the listening world is doing well. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful Turkey Day last week. And I wonder how many people got out for Black Friday. How many people went out and just tricked off all their money. Yeah, I know some of y'all was just tricking off. Yeah, I use those type of words too. I use those type of words too. Some of y'all was out there tricking off. Some of y'all buying for stuff that you need to not even be buying for. They ain't did nothing for you, and you just showing them grace and mercy, and so ain't nothing wrong with that. And some of y'all buying stuff that you can't afford to buy. Let me just go ahead and put it out there. You buying stuff because you seen a Black Friday price, and it was not in your affordability at this time. Not that you will never be able to afford it, but right now at this time, it was not in your affordability, but you went on and got it anyway because somebody was good to you. And so I hope that they show you the appreciation that you deserve for doing something that was outside of your scope at the moment. So today's show, I've been contemplating, going back and forth in the thought process. What am I going to talk about today, the month of December? I've talked about so many things this year in 2024, and we're getting close to the wrap up of the year. The last show of the year will be on December 26th. And I'm excited to go into that last show, but we have 3 weeks between now and then, today and 2 more weeks. But today, what I've really been in my mindset on, and I listened to a sermon my wife actually had planned yesterday, and it was talking a lot about fear not. Fear not. That's referenced more than anything else in the Bible. And so that's really been heavy in my spirit. Then I was talking to one of my good buddies about coaching, about, sometimes when you enter a new path in life, we don't really think about the fact that a coach is still necessary. What a lot of people do is nowadays we find all types of ways to move around getting a coach, someone that's going to help you out beyond mentorship. So this you should definitely have a mentor. You should definitely have those that you reach out to for wise counsel. But a coach is something that a lot of us could use that we do not have. And so I talked about, a good coach a few weeks back. So my buddy and I were talking about that. And then it led me to this next one, which was very key to me, which was about what is it that you're intaking? What are you into? And how is it coming out of you? And what ways is it coming out of you that you don't really even think about or realize? So, what are you into? That's what the question is for today. What are you into? Are you into gossip? That's a good one. Are you into gossip? So I'm gonna just stay on that lane for a second. Are you into gossip in the sense that there's no validity behind the information you're receiving? And then because you're receiving the information and what they say is juicy information, now you're sharing it. But you don't have a clue in the world on if it's true. All you know is it was good to hear. Sometimes people say that thing was good to me. Was it good to you to hear this information? And once you receive the information, did you just take it and digest it? Or did you take it and keep your lips moving and go tell the next person that you talk to? What are you into? Are you into monetary growth? What I mean by the monetary growth is, are you studying candlesticks in the stock market? Are you studying how to increase your wages at your job because the next level of promotion comes with you having more knowledge than where you are right now? What else? Are you studying the market trends for the real estate in your area because something you haven't told anybody is that you secretly want to be a real estate agent or you secretly want to flip houses? Are you into watching a lot of movies and TV shows because you secretly want to be an actor or an actress? You haven't told anybody, or you told someone when you were young, and because of their own fears, they told you that was not an area that you should go into. A lot of people act and they don't make it anywhere. A lot of people try to act and all they end up doing is some local plays. But that has nothing to do with you. Those were their fears, and so they cast their fears on you. So are you looking to find out where you can go to acting school? Are you looking to find out how you can take what it was as a thought process and turn it into some real action so that you could be great in that thing? I love to say that because I say it all the time. All success starts with the thought. So what is it that you're into? For I can get personal with it. Are you into cars, Robert? Yes, I am. What are you doing to expand your knowledge in that area? So for me right now, I just recently bought a paint gun. I said I was going to teach myself how to paint a car. Why go and spend $10,000, $20,000 to have someone paint my car if I have the location, I have all the necessary tools to do it, and I have the know-how? Why not go to someone that I know that has done this? My father, a couple of buddies of mine that paint cars or have painted cars, and gain the knowledge so that I could be in my own garage, or maybe even decide to purchase or build a facility where I could paint cars for myself. I have a few of them. Or I could paint cars for some others and make money that way. It's just a hobby. But someone I was speaking to the other day said, well, Rob, since you bought a good paint gun, you now have the air compressor. Why don't you go to school? You can do it over 6 months and have now the true knowledge instead of learning at a slower pace by talking to people here and there. So that was something that, is now in my thought process as going to school and learning hands-on is a coach. So I'm speaking of these things because hopefully somewhere along the line you can put this in your own thought process and go down your own street, the street of where are you, what are you into? Because what happens is this, or what has happened to a lot of us is this: we had a thought process in front of us where we were really interested in something. And I know this is real because statistically, less than 70% of people are using their college degrees in the field that they have their studies in, their bachelor's of arts or bachelor's of science. So if the number is that high, what caused them to go get a degree in an area in which now they're not operating? And in some cases, it's just money. Let's just be totally honest. It's just money. I know I have probably 4 or 5 friends that went to school in education. They were young and wanted to be a teacher. They saw a need for teachers, and they had come from different environments where, to be honest, some came from environments where school was wonderful. They had great teachers. But others, the majority of people that I know that were interested in teaching, come from an environment where it seemed as though the teachers were at the school only for a check because the students weren't acting right. And so they just said, forget it. I just do my job and get up out of here and go home. And I don't feel like dealing with these children. And it doesn't matter the ethnicity or the area in which you would come up in. I'm gonna tell you, my little brother is a teacher, and he's in a pretty affluent area, and they have issues with the kids there too. And so it's not because you're in a rich neighborhood that doesn't mean that the teachers in that area at that school in that neighborhood are all about the students. And then because you're in a poor or low income neighborhood, it doesn't mean that the teachers in that neighborhood are not about the students. But what happens is as far as I'm concerned, let me just go ahead and say this. I was debating if I wanted to speak it as I'm speaking. Teachers are probably the most underpaid people in the world. How is it that you can go to school to learn your ABCs, because not everybody teach their kids ABCs at home. Let's just be honest. How is it you can go to school to learn math, because not every parent is at home teaching their children how to add and subtract. They let the school do it. They leave it on the teachers. So, hold on. A lot of parents are not parenting their children. They leaving it to the teachers as well. And that's evident in the way that a good amount of kids act. And so you give all these responsibilities to the teacher, but then they don't want to pay them anything. I mean, it just makes no sense. So I'm all about when they ask for more money during tax time to help the teachers. I'm all about that. I mean, everybody want to find a way to save money in taxes. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the teachers, people, help the teachers. When your kids' schools are asking for things because the teachers need help, help the teachers. Now, there's some teachers that need to help themselves and get out of teaching, but I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the teachers that had a passion for it, and the money, the income for the teacher is so low that they can just go somewhere else and be a supervisor of a place that you never would have imagined and make more money than the teacher. So I'm not talking about those people, but I had to go off on that for a second because it's important that we take care of the people that are teaching our children. So, but what I was saying is this: there are a lot of people that are out here that got college degrees in areas in which they thought they wanted to go. And as a youth, sometimes you think in one way and you're not really clear on what you want to do, and you may have started going for a degree in the department that you really didn't have enough knowledge on. So put that to the side too. I'm not letting you guys duck away from what I'm saying. what, because of where I'm going with this is this. A lot of people are in different career paths because someone else gave them the insight, what seemed to be insight, on how that career wasn't going to be the best career for them. They cast down on you their fears to help mold your thought process. And you had the right thought process. Because somebody else has fear. Look, I know a lady that wouldn't let her kid come over my house and jump on a trampoline in the backyard. There was 15 kids over my house. All the kids on the trampoline except one kid. I tell the kid, get on the trampoline. I can't. Why not? I want to, but I can't. Why can't you get on the trampoline? Get on the trampoline. No, really, I can't, Mr. Rob. Okay, well, tell me what's the problem? Why don't you want to get on the trampoline? Well, I want to, but my mom told me that I cannot get on the trampoline when I come over your house. Why? What's the reason? Well, my mom's cousin had a friend. Listen to that. My mom's cousin had a friend whose son was jumping on the trampoline. He came off the trampoline and he broke his leg. So I'm not allowed to jump on a trampoline because I can't break my leg and still play soccer. I was like, really? You know, what happened in that case where we find out something from somebody else that had into somebody else, and now we took that information and we shared it with our own child and gave our child a fear that if they go jump on a trampoline, they could potentially break their leg and not be able to play soccer anymore, was that scenario. Don't allow other people to cast their fears on you to stop you from moving toward the dreams and the things you have in your life that you want to go after. See, the words, I should say, fear not, are mentioned so many times in the Bible because, in my opinion, my summation of it is because we are prone to fear. We are prone to believe the things that may never ever occur in our lives will occur because it occurred with someone else. Has nothing to do with me. Has nothing to do with me whatsoever. Because somebody fell off a bike doesn't mean I'm going to fall off my bike in the exact same place. Because somebody went up for a dunk. Oh wow, that's a good one. There was a basketball player, a lot of people know about him. He was in the summer league games, went up for a dunk, came down, bone came out his leg. One of my favorite players, D Rose, saw it, and you could see the facial expression that he made when he saw it that said, "Don't look over there." He broke his leg. Now he's back in the NBA and he's balling out of control. But you know who it is if you love the game of basketball like I do. But that doesn't mean that every player in the NBA was supposed to stop dunking, stop jumping in the air to block a basket, block someone's shot. You know, you cannot allow someone else's resolve in a situation be something that comes into your life and then strikes fear over you. So fear not. What I want to talk about also is anxiety. So many people are dealing with depression, anxiety, worry. That lane is not a lane for you. So what I suggest to you is to pick up a copy of Greater Thoughts and start the 90-day process to removing the anxiety, removing the negative thoughts that come into your mind. Reframe your thought process. Re, re, rebuild your mind. And it's okay to be childlike in that. You know, when we're learning things, you have a mindset of paying a lot of attention to what's going on. Start paying a lot of attention to what's going on in your own personal thought process. When you are about to do something, I had to do this for myself just earlier this morning. You know, I was about to do something and I had to take a moment to stop myself and say, why are you going to do that? Where is it going to help you? Where is it going to benefit you? Where is the growth come in? And More of us need to do that on a day-to-day basis, at a moment-to-moment. When you find yourself, oh, and I'm gonna speak to some men on this one. When you find yourself getting ready to sit down and play a video game, it's so many other things that you can do. Now, I know some of you all out here playing video games, hustling. I know several people that's hustling over Madden, hustling over different games and such. But at the end of the day, that's not what you do for income. You know, take that time to go out and do something for yourself to grow yourself in a positive aspect. And I posted something on social media the other day about spending time with your children. And so I want to take the last few minutes to just talk about that. Spend time with your children, everybody. Don't let it just be this time of the year that you're spending time with your children. Your children have dreams and aspirations. And I'm telling you right now, because I know it's the truth, not enough of us know the dreams and aspirations of our children. And what I want to suggest to you is that you do not cast your own fears over your children. See, because there is endless possibilities for your child. But if you start casting your personal fears over that child, then you're going to start setting your child up to not believe that they can do all things which are possible through Christ. And so, most of my listeners are Christian like myself. And so I'll say that again. All things are possible through Christ who strengthens you. And so what I would love for you to do is, while you're asking for your children to give you Christmas lists, this is a good one now. Take notes on this. While you're asking your children to give you Christmas lists, ask your children to give you a list of the things that they desire to do in their lives. What is it that they like to accomplish? What goals do they have for 2025? Yeah, because goals don't just begin when you get 25. Goals don't just begin when you get 45. Goals didn't begin when you were 15. Goals began before you were 5 years old. Little kids have a goal to walk. They can't even articulate it yet, but they have a goal. They want to walk. And how is it evident? Because they crawl. How is it evident? Because they start pulling up on things. How is it evident? Because they stand. How is it evident? Because they take one or two steps and then they fall, and then they get up and they take one or two more steps, and then they stand still before they put another 2 or 3 steps together. And now they have put together a little bit of distance behind themselves. So they went from one place and they moved to another. And so while you're talking about Christmas gifts and things to go spend your money on, how about spend your time with building their mindset? See, greater thoughts is not just for the older person. It's not for just the middle-aged person. It's for the young person as well. My book is great for you to take out and go and get 2 copies. Don't just get your copy, get 2 copies. So that way you can use it for yourself, but you can also use it with a partner. And there's nothing wrong with using it with your child. See, what we want to do is we want to build the mindset of not only ourselves, but everyone around us. So when we have that collective positive energy, and it takes and pushes forward through the force multiplier of the energy, what can happen in your life is just amazing. And that's what happens when you put multiple positive people together in an area. When you take your mindset and grow it, and then you grow or help grow the mindset of those that are around you, and then you have now a group of people with the same positive mindset that are all looking to take that power to go forward. There's nothing that can stop you. Nothing can hinder you. Everything is positive. And when you look at that aspect, because there's always the half empty side of the glass. And if you stay focused on the half empty side of the glass, you'll more than less see the negative side of things. So be on the half full side of the glass and continue to watch your bottle fill up. And through the force multiplier, I'm talking about that force multiplier and that positive energy and that positive thought process and that part of you that says, I can, I am, You know, I love when I talk about I am, because I am blessed by the Most High. And so when I talk about I am, and I always think to myself, when God was talking to Moses and he asked him, who sent me? He tells him, tell him that I am. So when you talk about yourself, make sure you speak positive about who you are. That's going to be the end of the show today. But I don't want you to forget, from the beginning of the show to the now, what is it that you're into? And how is it going to influence you and influence what it is that you do and influence the people around you? See, I spoke about things that weren't on a negative aspect. I spoke about the things right there in the middle, because I know I'm not going to say a lot. I know some people are into the things that just don't bring them anything positive. But hey, you can come out of that. So remember this. All success starts with a thought. Take those thoughts, turn them into action, and go be great.
In the silence of the night, when doubt creeps in, I hear that whispering voice pulling me from within. The weight of the world tries to break my soul, but I rise from the ashes, determined and whole. With every step, I'm reclaiming my grace. Positive thoughts lighting up my space. I'm breaking these chains with love in my heart, embracing my journey. It's just the start. No more doubts or fears, I'll find my way.